Hey everyone, Forrest here with Rocky Mountain School of Photography, and today I want to take a look at the RMSP Community Forum. Let's go ahead and dive in. So you can get to our forum by going to community.rmsp.com. And that will bring you to the homepage of the RMSP community. Now, right off the bat, I am a logged in user. So what I'm going to see is going to be different from what you're going to see the first time. So what I'm actually going to do is go ahead here and sign out so that what I see is exactly the same as what you'll see your first time getting here. So you'll notice that the community forum is actually open to anybody. Anyone from the public can log into the RMSP community and see the posts and hopefully get some of their questions answered if they see a question that they already have here being asked. So that brings me to the first cool part of the RMSP community, which is that it is public. Anyone can join community and anyone can see what's on community without actually making an account, which is pretty cool. So you can kind of click around and just see, hey, is this something that's worthwhile to me? Now, I will say there are a couple of spaces that are closed off and are only for certain types of people. As an example, over here on the left, we have one group for our PI, SI, and career training alumni. This is a closed group, so you have to be an alum from one of those programs in order to get access to this space. The other one is, you'll notice there are going to be various student spaces for various years of our different programs. So we've already set one up for 2023 Summer Intensive, and we will make new ones for different programs that are upcoming. So those spaces are restricted, but everything else is available to everyone. So the first thing that I would recommend you do is click around and look at what's here. You don't need to make an account in order to see that, just see whether this is something that's important to you. There was a great question asked this morning in the equipment space on mirrorless cameras, and I took some good time to answer that and give some good feedback for that question that was asked. Now, community's only been live now for about 24 hours, so there's not a lot of stuff that's been built onto this, but if you have a question and you would like to make a post, the thing that I would recommend is creating an account. So in order to create an account, all you need to do is go up here to the sign up button in the upper right and click on that. And that's gonna ask you right here, join Rocky Mountain School of Photography, and we will either choose to log in if you already have an account or sign up with an email address. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and walk through this process and I'll catch you guys on the other side. So as soon as you get past that screen where you choose your name and put in your email address and choose a password, you're gonna be greeted with this screen, which is to help you set up your profile. Now, I highly recommend taking the time to do this. I think community is only as good as the community that is in community, obviously. So taking a little bit of time to write a short bio about yourself, upload a profile picture, those types of things. You can even put links to your website, your location, whatever you really want to share with the world. I highly recommend that. I do want to point out a couple of important things down here though that I think are worth mentioning. The first is make my email publicly visible. If you turn that on, your email address will be broadcast to the world, so to speak. So that's great if you're looking for members to know who you are and be able to contact you outside of community, but do know that community has its own direct messaging feature, so you don't necessarily need that in order for people to reach out specifically to you. The other thing I want to show is this show my profile in the member directory. If you turn that off, your profile will be invisible to all users of community except for when you make posts or answer questions. There's a whole directory of members that members of community can get to, and this will hide you from that list. So depending on your own privacy tolerances, you can turn those on or off, but I think they're important to mention. The other thing is down here, there's sections for social links where you can put in links to your LinkedIn or your Instagram or things like that. And then lastly, there's a permission where you can basically prevent people from messaging you. I would probably recommend leaving this off. We want to allow as much kind of interconnection in community as possible. Specifically, if you're an alum of RMSP, being able to reach out to other alums through direct messaging is one of the coolest parts of this platform. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that off for me. I'm gonna complete my profile and then I'm gonna hit that continue button. Also, you're welcome to complete your profile later. You can always hit skip and that'll take you right through the next screen and skip the profile creation section. So once that profile is created, you'll be greeted with a little welcome message here. Mine says, hey Test, because I put in my name as Test. Hi Test, welcome to RMSP Community, have a look around, and when you're ready, start contributing to posts and comments. So I'm gonna hit let go, let's go, and let's go ahead and dive into this. The first thing I wanna say is all the good stuff is over on the left-hand side in community. These are where all of the different spaces live, that you can put things and ask questions and answer questions and things like that. The first thing I wanna point out is start here. I highly recommend that everyone starts there and reads my read this first post. I put some really good information here on kind of the first things you should do inside of community. And again, this is accessible even if you don't have an account. So if you kind of want to see what we're recommending out there, you don't have to create an account in order to see this. Next, what I would recommend you do is head over to introductions and introduce yourself. I really think it's important for all of us to get to know one another on Community and to say hi. And this is a great place to post pictures that you've shot, to give a little bio about yourself, to see what other people have posted, just a general place for us all to meet and connect with one another. From there, we have these public spaces, and these are mostly for asking questions. There's photography questions, video and audio questions, equipment questions, hardware and software questions, business and marketing questions. And if you're gonna be a forum contributor, meaning you're gonna ask questions, I also ask that when you see a question that you know the answer to, that you answer questions. It's definitely a two-way street. I think the more that you can contribute your knowledge and then also ask questions of other users, it just increases that collaborative environment. So again, like I talked about earlier in the video, a great question was asked this morning on mirrorless cameras, and someone was asking whether what the status of them were. And I took some good time, posted this whole comment that answered their question. And that's cool, and I'm hoping some other community users will weigh in as well on this specific post. Now, there are two specific spaces that I want to draw a little bit of extra attention to, and that is the peer image critique section and the buy, sell, trade section. So peer image critique is purely for sharing your pictures. If you have a photo that you're particularly proud of, go ahead and post it on peer image critique. That's the place to kind of show your work, so to speak. Do understand though that people might make suggestions for improvement, which I think is awesome, right? Why wouldn't we want to always improve our craft of photography? So if you want to share pictures, that goes on peer image critique. I also recommend, again, that you give some input on other photographers' work as well. And then this buy, sell, trade section is if you have equipment that you want to sell, this is the place to do that. Now, very, very important for buy, sell, trade. RMSP offers no protections of any kind on buying and selling equipment in this space. So please read these rules very thoroughly and understand what is expected of you. If this feels very overwhelming and you kind of want to know some help posting your gear in the buy, sell, trade section, at the bottom of this read this first section, I have a post template where I kind of walk through my best practices in an example post of how I would post my gear. So this would be a good thing to kind of glance at if this feels a little bit overwhelming to you. Moving down a little bit on the left-hand side, we have those two private spaces that I was talking about, the PI, SI, and CT alumni, as well as the 2023 Summer Intensive. Now, those two spaces are locked by default. They're private, meaning they're only for people who we as moderators or admins allow into those spaces. And basically what they're for is for our previous students to have their own private space to talk about anything, really have a community place that they are kind of special for them. One important note on this is if you are an alum of Professional Intensive or Summer Intensive or Advanced Intensive or Career Training or any of our kind of longer pro programs, you can request access to this space. It won't happen automatically. So all you gotta do to request access is once you have an account, you just click that request access button, and that's actually gonna take you to Sarah's profile. Sarah's my wife, she's the assistant director here at the school, and you can send her a direct message asking her for access. Super simple. Sarah will verify that you were a student at the school in one of our longer programs, and she will give you special access to that alumni space. The 2023 Summer Intensive space, that one you can't request access to. That is only for our 2023 Summer Intensive students. So if you want access to that space, come to Summer Intensive in 2023 and we'll give you access to that. But that is a highly controlled space. There's no way for us to just give anyone access to that. So that is specifically for the students coming to our 2023 Summer Intensive. And then lastly down here, we have links to other things. So this is more for people who don't know what RMSP is, but we have links to our website, YouTube channel, Instagram, and our merch store if you're looking to buy some stuff. On top of that, at the very top left here, there is the home screen. That is where you will default. It's also gonna show you some top posts once you've joined some spaces. Notifications, just what they sound, notifications. Direct messages is where you would send direct messages to other users. And members is that list of members that I was talking about earlier. So the final thing that I would recommend once you've clicked around and looked around and maybe asked or answered some questions is to officially join the spaces that you are the most interested in. So as an example, I love gear. So I would go to the equipment space and I would join that space. Now I've already joined equipment, so let me show you what it would look like if I hadn't joined it. Let me go to hardware and software. So I have not joined hardware and software yet. I would click this join space at the upper right. That's going to actually put me into this space. All that means is that I'm gonna get notifications, or I'm gonna get the option to get notifications when new posts are made in this space. Now, I love hardware and software. I'm a little bit of a computer nerd, so I want to know when people post here. If there's a question being asked, I wanna know what that question is, and I wanna maybe answer it if I can be of service. So what I'm gonna do is, once I've joined it, I'm gonna go up here to the upper left where it says hardware and software, and I'm gonna turn on email notifications, which is going to allow the platform to send me an email when new posts are made here. There's also in-app notifications and push notifications. In-app notifications, this platform called Circle, that's the platform that we are using for our community, has an app. So if you download the Circle app and you join, it's a little bit buggy, so I'm not really recommending it, but it's there. This would give you a in-app notification when you were on your phone using the Circle app and someone posted something in hardware and software. Push notification is a browser notification. So if you're using Google Chrome, it would pop up a little notification in your browser whenever anyone made a post. I'm gonna go with just email for me, and just like that, we're all set up. It should be noted also that if a space is driving you crazy, you can go ahead and click on it, turn off notifications, and if it's really driving you crazy, you can actually leave that space. Now, do note that when you leave a space, if you go to that home screen, you're not gonna see posts from that specific space. So the home screen is gonna show you kind of a conglomeration of posts made in all of the spaces that you are members of. So join the spaces you're interested in, leave the spaces that you're not interested in, kind of customize this in a way that you like. One other note is if you are an RMSP alum, I'd highly recommend popping over to the members section and looking at all the members of community. And if you see someone you know, send them a direct message, say hey, engage with them. That's the whole point of this platform, is just to keep people building community, asking and answering questions, looking at photographs, and all that kind of good stuff. I hope you all found this video useful. I know that it was a little bit long as far as what's involved, but community is going to be an ever evolving thing for RMSP. We're gonna be building out a lot of new stuff here. We have a lot of really cool ideas for features to add and different things like this. This video is just a general overview, but hopefully that gave you a good idea of how this platform works and got you excited to dive in. Thanks everybody, I appreciate it, and I hope to see you on community.